because I didn't know how the love was going to look between me.
Being a parent to any child can be challenging because every child is different. Parents of children with special needs often face more struggles. Notwithstanding, disabilities are a part of life, and some celebrity parents have learned this through their experiences. Join us as we delve into the lives of celebrities who have beautiful disabled kids. Number 20. Katarina Scorsone. The star of Grey's Anatomy has a daughter named Pippa, Paloma Michaela Giles. Pippa has Down syndrome. Katarina admitted to being scared when she first found out about it. However, she now advocates for people to understand better what it is like to raise a child with this genetic condition. All I knew about Down syndrome was that people were afraid of it, so I figured I should be too, Katarina told People. But as Pippa grew older, the actress figured there was nothing to fear. Katarina changed her perspective very quickly. She began to see Pippa's differences as a beautiful part of her, just like everyone has unique traits. The star added that it opened a new and better chapter in her life. There is no standard, objective, perfect human being. The metrics of perfection are arbitrary and imposed in the service of those who fit them. My daughter is perfect, exactly the way she is, Katarina said. True to her words, Katarina took to social media to support Down Syndrome Awareness Month. On one occasion, she posted pictures of Pippa smiling while sitting in a swing and spending time with her older sister Eliza. October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Here's a little info, wrote the actress. 1 in 700 babies is born with Down syndrome. Language is important. Parents don't have a 1 in 700 risk of having a baby with Down syndrome. Katarina explained that while her daughter's diagnosis could make her anxious, she has learned that raising any child brings uncertainty and fear. She admitted she does not know what challenges Pippa might face later. There are thoughts about whether Pippa will find a job that fits her interests and talents. However, Katarina said she doesn't know those things about her other daughters either. In an interview on the Motherly podcast in March 2019, the actress talked about how she explained Pippa's diagnosis to her older daughter. She told Eliza that Pippa was developing more slowly, but she was still growing and reaching milestones. It was just happening at a different pace. This helped Eliza understand what was happening and that Pippa would be a baby a little longer. Katarina wrote a powerful and heartfelt essay for Good Morning America in October 2020. She talked about the importance of advocacy for Down syndrome during Down Syndrome Awareness Month. My daughter Pippa has rainbow-colored eyes, she wrote, explaining that her eyes stand out due to a common trait among people with Down syndrome called brushfield spots. But Pippa isn't Down syndrome. Pippa is Pippa. Pippa is different. For Pippa to accomplish what she chooses to accomplish, to thrive and fulfill the desires she has for herself, she needs to be supported in specific ways. Number 19. Gary Cole. In 1995, Gary Cole's daughter Mary was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. When my daughter Mary was diagnosed with autism in 1995, says the actor, all I had to go on was Rain Man. Today, about 1 in 150 American children under age 8 are diagnosed with autism or related conditions like Asperger's syndrome. These conditions have symptoms such as difficulty relating to others, needing strict routines, and repeating behaviors. In 2009, the Office Space star gave an interview encouraging other parents of children with ASD to find information to help them and their children. He also reminded parents that they are not alone. The actor said he first thought something was wrong with Mary when she was 2. She didn't process information like other kids and didn't pick up on social cues. It seems you can ask any friend, any relative, and they'll be able to tell you about someone they know with autism or direct you to a good doctor who can help, he said. Seek answers, and the earlier, the better. Gary is happy to use his fame as a platform to help other parents in the middle of a challenging diagnosis. He supports 2 organizations, the Help Group and Autism Speaks. These groups work to meet the educational needs of autistic children and their families, and raise money for global research to find a cure. They also promote awareness, especially in April. Gary explained that when a child is diagnosed with autism, the parents' original plans are put aside. He is grateful that Mary, now 16, has gone on to live a relatively normal life. After receiving therapy as a young child, with help from a personal aide, She attended regular elementary and middle schools in California. Presently, she goes to a special learning facility for high school. Number 18. Colin Ferrell. Colin's oldest son, James Padraig Ferrell, lives with Angelman syndrome. This condition can cause developmental delays, speech impairment, balance disorder, excessive laughter, and even seizures. In 2007, the actor opened up about James's neurogenetic disorder. He revealed that James had been diagnosed with Angelman syndrome. The only time I'm reminded that there is something different about him, that he has some deviation of what is perceived to be normal, is when I see him with the other 4-year-olds. Then I go, oh yeah, and it comes back to me, Colin told the Irish Independent. But from day one, I felt that he's the way he's meant to be. Coincidentally, Ferrell helped promote the Special Olympics before his son was diagnosed. Colin further revealed he drew inspiration from his son, things like walking and talking and eating and feeding himself. All those things that so many of us naturally take for granted because they come so easily. To James, they come somewhat harder, he told People at the time. Everything he's achieved in his life has come through the presence and the kind of will that is hard work. He's a lot to be inspired by. In 2024, Colin launched the Colin Ferrell Foundation in honor of James. The nonprofit organization supports adult children with intellectual disabilities through advocacy, education, and innovative programs. The actor said that when a child turns 21, they are on their own. All the safeguards and special classes put in place go away. The parent is then left with a young adult who should be an integrated part of our modern society, and more often than not, is left behind. He added, I want the world to be kind to James. I want the world to treat him with kindness and respect. Number 17. Victoria Beckham. In 2006, Victoria Beckham revealed that her son, Romeo James Beckham, has epilepsy. She was forced to talk about it when the paparazzi's flashing cameras posed a seizure threat. She told the photographers, "He's got epilepsy. All that flashing will start an epileptic fit. You can't do that." After the reveal, the paparazzi agreed to stop taking pictures of Romeo. Romeo attended private schools in London. At 10 years old, he made his modeling debut in a campaign for Burberry Kids. As a teen, he appeared on the cover of L'Uomo Vogue's Generation issue. In addition to modeling, Romeo decided to follow his father's path and pursue soccer. Like his brother Brooklyn, he joined Arsenal FC Academy, but left when he was 13. He then focused on tennis, training 4 to 5 days a week and playing alongside professionals like Andy Murray. A few years later, Romeo gave soccer another try. At 19, he joined Fort Lauderdale CF, the sister club of Inter Miami CF, which his dad co-owns. The team competes in League One of the United Soccer League. In September 2021, he made his professional debut in a match against Tormenta FC. Despite his busy schedule with sports and modeling, Romeo made time for romance. He was most recently linked to model Mia Regan, whom he reportedly started dating in 2019. The couple made their first red carpet appearance at the 2021 British Fashion Awards. However, the couple went their separate ways 3 years later. Number 16. Katie Price. Celebrity Big Brother alum, Katie Price moved her son, Harvey Price, into a full-time care facility in 2021, according to US Weekly. Harvey is partially blind and has Prader-Willi syndrome, which can cause slow development. He has also been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. However, Katie revealed she has to find a new place for him to live. The new management took over the care home and decided they couldn't meet Harvey's needs. Katie explained that Harvey's doctors and social worker encouraged her to appeal the decision. She went on to explain his medical difficulties. She said, "If he's ill, he ends up in the hospital. What are they on about? Everyone knows Harvey has healthcare issues. It's been documented and I've done documentaries on it, but they just think it's behavior," she continued. "They've given me 3 months to find somewhere else by July. With someone like Harvey, you need the transitional move. You need to do it slowly. I'm trying to find somewhere nearer or something for Harvey, but 3 months isn't a long time." Katie was Harvey's primary caregiver until he turned 19. She filmed his move into National Star College as part of the BBC documentary Katie Price, Harvey and Me in 2021. The documentary featured highs and lows for Harvey as he adjusted to living without his mother for the first time, while leading a more independent life and learning new skills. Number 15. Sylvester Stallone. In 1985, Syl talked to people about his son Siargo's struggles with autism spectrum disorder. He and his then-wife, Sasha, sought help when they thought Siargo was having trouble communicating. They called him their silent genius, since he could draw, write letters, and repeat certain words at an early age. However, the problem was worse than they feared. The doctor announced that Siargo was suffering from autism. The former couple reacted like any other parents. Sasha said, "We both broke down. Then, like in the Rocky movies, they chose to fight. They ignored advice to place Siargo in an institution and took the responsibility." In 1985, Syl and Sasha started a research fund managed by the National Society for Children and Adults with Autism. Syl said, "Sasha does the hard, in the trenches warfare. I use my films to have premieres that raise money for the fund." Number 14. John C. McGinley. John C. McGinley, best known from Scrubs, has a son named Max with Down syndrome. When John discovered his first child had the condition, he changed his career path. The actor admitted that he did not know anything about Down syndrome at the time. His experience as a new father was difficult in the beginning. He shared that he felt strong guilt and asked himself what he might have done wrong to cause his son to be born with an extra chromosome. However, John did not give up on his baby boy. Instead, he decided to learn everything he could about Down syndrome, so Max could grow up in the best way possible. He took a year off from acting. He went to seminars and read every book and article he could find on the topic. Today, John still does not work as an actor. He spends his time caring for Max and his 2 younger daughters. He also serves on the board of the Global Down Syndrome Foundation. He spoke about parenting Max in Ability magazine in 2011. He said, "Max's biggest challenge is his lack of spoken language. Max sometimes gets frustrated when he can't communicate verbally, so he uses gestures and sometimes an inappropriate amount of physicality to communicate. We still need to be vigilant and not overburden him as he charts his course through a non-verbal landscape." Number 13. Greg Grunberg. Greg Grunberg, who starred in Heroes and Felicity, has a son named Jake who lives with epilepsy. Jake began having what appeared to be staring spells at the age of 7. During a parent and teacher conference, his teachers reported seeing him zone out for a few seconds. It wasn't frequent, but enough to raise concern. This prompted his parents to watch him more closely, and they soon noticed the episodes themselves. At Jake's routine 7-year checkup, his parents mentioned the episodes to his doctor. In response, the doctor asked Jake to breathe in and out quickly, which triggered what is now recognized as an absence seizure. That moment marked the beginning of the family's journey through what Greg later described as the epilepsy car wash. The phrase describes a long and ongoing learning process to manage and stay ahead of Jake's condition. Since then, Jake has undergone 2 brain surgeries, followed a ketogenic diet, received a VNS implant, and taken multiple medications. He also uses a CBD-based medication approved by the FDA. After 19 years of treatment and care, Jake is doing well, although he still experiences a rare breakthrough seizure about once a year. Greg still speaks out often about epilepsy. He even started talkaboutit.org, a website that gives support and information to people living with epilepsy and to their caregivers. "Talking about it is what we need to do," Greg said on The Doctors. "The more we talk about it, we remove the stigma." Number 12. Laura Sanjakamo. In 1996, Laura's son, Mason, was born with cerebral palsy, a condition that made physical and verbal development more challenging for him. Inspired by her son's experience, Laura dedicated her life to working with children with special needs. "Disability is natural," Laura said during an interview with Oprah. "Where are they now? It always has been. It always will be. It's part of the world, and it's part of life." Laura now works closely with the CHIME Institute, a school that teaches children of all learning levels in the same environment. She hopes more parents will begin to view disability in a new way, one that focuses on possibility rather than limitation. The school had over 700 kids in attendance as of 2012. We don't have a constructive or positive view of disability, really, around the world. But what would happen if the doctor said to you, instead of these ridiculously heartbreaking predictions, which are so often not true, why don't they say to you, "Look, this is the greatest gift you're going to be given. This is the chance for you to become smarter and more inventive than you ever thought you would be." "You are being called to the biggest plate of your life," she says. "Let's acknowledge your gift, and now let's get to work." Number 11. Holly Robinson. Pete Holly's son, RJ, was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. A pediatrician once explained that RJ's life would differ from his peers. However, thanks to treatments and therapy, RJ has exceeded expectations. Despite being told he would never work, he has been employed by the Los Angeles Dodgers for several years. The family has also become strong advocates for the autism community. Through their reality shows, For Petey's Sake and Meet the Petes, they work to spread awareness about the disorder. "He's such a genuine kid," Holly told People in April 2018. "I wanted people to see that and fall in love with RJ, and then they wouldn't be so scared of autism. I think he's a great ambassador, and I knew his spirit and personality would come through." When Holly discusses autism spectrum disorder, she focuses on its connection to race. Quite often in the African American community, we do tend to shy away from these issues. We tend not to talk about autism or special needs or mental health, but we have to move past that, she told Essence. Some of our kids get diagnosed sometimes 2 to 5 years later than in other communities, and that's not okay. Number 10. Neil Young. The rock star first became a dad in 1972 when he welcomed his son Zeke with actress Carrie Snodgrass. The couple discovered early on that Zeke had very mild cerebral palsy. Neil and Snodgrass split in 1975, and the musician began a relationship with singer Peggy Young, whom he married in 1978. When their first child, Ben, was born that same year, he was also diagnosed with cerebral palsy, but the severe kind. Neil told Rolling Stone in 1988, "The doctor said, there's no connection between Zeke and Ben's conditions at all. It's a fluke that both have cerebral palsy." In 1986, Ben's struggles in his learning program inspired Neil and Peggy to open the Bridge School, which teaches students with severe disabilities to communicate better. Ben's communication style inspired several of Neil's songs. If you listen to the words to Transformer Man and Computer Age and We Are in Control, you'll hear a lot of references to my son and to people trying to live a life by pressing buttons and talking with people who can't talk, Neil told American Songwriter in April 2024. Ben graduated from Half Moon Bay High School in 1998. 1 year later, he started a chicken farm on his family's ranch, according to SF Gate. Number 9. Ed Asner. Ed's son, Charlie, was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. His grandson, Will, also lives with the disorder. Ed Asner admitted that at first he missed it. The difficulty fitting in, the lagging of certain skills, and the lack of empathy people observed in Charlie. "I found a high-spirited, rule-breaking youngster," he confessed. And because of his personal experiences, the Mary Tyler Moore Show star became an advocate for people with ASD. According to Ed Asner, autism has taught him much throughout his life, but nothing more important than patience. Patience, he says, always patience. I can't employ it enough. Number 8. Joe Mantegna. Movie, television, and Broadway star Joe Mantegna and his wife Arlene discovered that their daughter Mia, at 2.5, was autistic. Criminal Minds star Joe thought of his family first whenever he was picking acting jobs. He didn't want to leave Mia behind for the long stretches of filming on location. He told Ability magazine that he asked production to make accommodations for him and his family. "Okay, we're going to Russia for 3 weeks? Then my family is all going." "Really?" the producer would ask. "Yeah, we're all going or I'm not going. Get another actor." He said, "I have a 34-year-old daughter named Mia with autism," the actor told Page 6 in a recent interview. "I've been asked in the past, what's it like to have a daughter with autism? And my answer always is, I don't know what it's like not to have a daughter with autism." Number 7. Mädchen Amick. Mädchen Amick opened up to US Weekly in January 2025 about her son Sylvester's continuing journey with bipolar I disorder. The longer the journey gets, it's interesting to see your perspective and how it broadens out more and more, so those moments of challenge become easier to deal with because you can look at it in a bigger picture, the actress told the outlet. And so, though there might be dips of challenge or some destabilization, you look at it over a longer period, which has been 13 years now. 13 years, and you can look at that little graph getting better and better. The Riverdale alum also opened up about the importance of staying vigilant when changing medications, saying Sly once had a bit of a challenge when one of his medications was altered. He caught it fast, and they changed that medication immediately, and they changed it back to one that was working before. But those little moments like that can be so destabilizing for the entire family, so you all have to be ready and aware and communicate with each other. Number 6. Joel McHale. Actor. Joel McHale has 2 sons with his wife Sarah. Their oldest son, Edward, has autism spectrum disorder. And he'll be the first to tell you that. And then he would walk up to you and go, "Tell me about a time you got hurt," and then wait for your answer, he told people. Joel said that Edward isn't sure if he will attend college. Instead, he may learn to write video games and start working after graduation. Joel believes the only choice is to love Edward and support whatever he chooses. "Life throws you all sorts of things," he said. "The journey with the kids has not been a traditional one because everyone else around us is doing more typical things. And I'm like, hey, it's all good. Let's see what happens." Number 5. Amanda Booth. Amanda Booth's son, Micah Booth, has Down syndrome and autism. She spends her time advocating for diversity and inclusion in media and fashion. She explained to people that the only reason she ever thought she could be a model was because she saw someone who looked like her doing it. She emphasized the importance of advocating for children with Down syndrome by getting them on TV and in advertisements, so people with Down syndrome could see someone who looked like them and feel invited to shop or even aspire to be a model themselves. And then people who don't have Down syndrome and walk by a store, maybe that's their first time seeing someone with Down syndrome, and it will get them to talk with their parents and say, "Oh, this person looks different than me. What's going on here?" It's an important question that Amanda hopes more people will ask instead of falling into the thought process that they shouldn't stare and whisper. Now, as parents, we're like, no, let's talk about it. Hey, are you curious? Like, hey, kid at the park, come and ask me why my kiddo is stimming or doing these different things, and I can tell you about autism, and you can learn something. Number 4. Doug Fluty. Doug Fluty's son, Doug "Dougie" Fluty Jr., was diagnosed with autism as a toddler. He is low-functioning and nonverbal. The former NFL player and his wife established a foundation to support families affected by ASD in honor of their son. Fluty shared on the Doug Fluty Jr. Foundation for Autism's website that Dougie has taught them to keep their lives in the right perspective. He explained that his son taught them to take it one day at a time, not take anything for granted, and appreciate everything about life, especially the small things. Dougie has shown them how to smile, be happy, and positively approach every aspect of life. Help others. No matter what your situation is, you can use it positively and help others through your experience. Things happen for a reason, and we feel that Dougie's calling was to help those affected by autism, and we are so proud of Dougie and Doug Fluty Jr. Foundation for Autism. We want all those dealing with autism to know that they are not alone. Number 3. Brendan Fraser. During a conversation about his movie The Whale for Interview magazine, Brendan Fraser shared that his oldest son, Griffin, has special needs and is autistic. Brendan described Griffin as a big kid, standing 6'5", with large hands, feet, and a big body. He mentioned that he understands what it is to be close to someone living with obesity. He continued, "And because of the beauty of his spectrum, call it a disorder if you will, I disagree with you. He knows nothing of irony. He doesn't know what cynicism is. You can't insult him. He can't insult you. He's the happiest person and is, in my life and many others, also the manifestation of love." Brendan also emphasized that he extends the care he gives to his son Griffin to other people on the autism spectrum. In an interview with Howard Stern, Fraser mentioned that he can clock a person from across a convention room hall and know they have autism. When Stern asked about what will happen to Griffin when Brendan and Griffin's mother, Afton Smith, are no longer around or able to care for him, he replied, "What can we do other than give ourselves a break and muddle our way through it together and do what works until it doesn't work anymore, and then find something new?" Number 2. Rosie ODonnell. Rosie ODonnell's daughter Dakota was diagnosed with autism as a toddler. The comedian shared her journey in a personal essay for People. She discussed how the experience has changed her perspective on life. O'Donnell explained that Dakota's autism forces her to see the world from a completely different place. She described her daughter as a gift from another dimension. The things she knows about sea anemones and tide pools O'Donnell admitted that she didn't know about the Mariana Trench until she was 60. She wrote, "She teaches me to be able to see the world as she does. For me, it's been a wonderfully magical experience. I'm so glad we have each other." Number 1. Christopher Gorum. One night in Miami, star Christopher Gorum shared that his son, Lucas, has Asperger's syndrome. However, he and his wife, Anal Lopez, didn't receive an official diagnosis until Lucas was in elementary school. Lucas eventually thrived in a school specifically designed for children on the autism spectrum, giving him the best shot at having the best life he can. Gorum explained that they received the diagnosis fairly late, when Lucas was 9 years old, which he described as both a blessing and a curse. He mentioned that because Lucas is very high-functioning, they didn't realize something was off until much later. It's upsetting to hear that something is wrong with your child. At the same time, it's a relief to know what's wrong with your child, because if you know what's wrong, then you can start to take steps to help them, he explained to Disability Scoop. How would you describe these conditions? Disabilities or unique traits? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more celebrity gist. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.